called Dinosaur, and this is a show that is set in Glasgow, and it's set around a woman who happens to work in like the Glasgow. I'm not sure that they have a natural history museum, but whatever it is, essentially Glasgow's version of the natural history museum. So she works with fossils, she works with dinosaurs, and she is autistic. And this is like a big part of her. Is a big part of her story is that she's autistic. She's on the spectrum, and she sort of struggles to understand cues. She struggles to sort of like to interact socially, and so she keeps her world quite small and quite ordered because she knows this is what I want to do. The actress who plays her is autistic, so this is a lot of her life experiences coming to the show, and then her sister, who she lives with and is almost kind of like a sort of her support person, shows up one day and says, "I met this guy like 2 weeks ago. We're gonna get married," and it's all about what happens and how it throws her world off kilter because she's like, "No, that's not the way things are supposed to be. This is supposed to be here. That's supposed to be there. This is supposed to happen. I don't like change," and it's quite. And it's one of these shows where hang on a second. So I'm fighting with somebody who is trying to play with my laptop as I am speaking. Kemi, leave it alone. Leave it alone. And because of that, I haven't even set my timer. So it's one of these shows where when you feel as if someone is writing from experience that they actually know. They've lived through this. And so this is what it's actually like. And it's a very sort of, not quite warts on all, but it's very just, not basic, what's the word? Matter of fact. It's very matter of fact about autism. It's very matter of fact of what it's like for somebody like this trying to deal with the rest of the world. It's very matter of fact of the fact that even she, being autistic, knows that she is a problem for other people. She knows that she's a problem for her family. But I think it does all of this in the characters, and it does all of this in the comedy, because the guy who she's getting married to is a bit of what do they call them? The kind of people who wear skinny jeans, always wear some hat that's ill-fitting for their head, and hang around in cafes. Holly, they're around in Camden.
Beatniks? No.
No, they're kind of like modern beatniks. Holly, what are they called?
A word that I know completely and would use regularly, and I now can't think of.
Yeah, no, I cannot think of it. I cannot think of what the word is. But anyway, he's one of those words, and he's like, he's always talking about, I'm going to make you pasta that I've made directly from Firenze when I went around Firenze and all that kind of stuff. And she's just like, there's a whole thing where they meet his dad for the first time, and she's fixated.
Yes,
hipster. That's the word. I can't believe I blanked on hipster. But there's a whole bit where they meet his dad for the first time, and she is fixated. She is fixated on the fact that his glasses are so tiny. But her sister has told her, "You're not allowed to be yourself. Don't ask all these questions. Don't do this. Don't do this." And there is actually there's a subplot, quite a significant subplot, which I thought that you would like about this, about her getting offered a job on the Isle of Wight. Because obviously dinosaur fossils and all that kind of stuff are going for a dig on the Isle of Wight. And I actually thought this was quite good. I thought it was quite cool. I thought it was because I know I've always felt like there's a thing with when you meet up with an autistic person. I've always said that if I'm going to work with an autistic person, I would like to know, because how sometimes people just want to step on eggshells around it and just sort of say you can't say anything. And I'm like, no, I want to know, because then I know what to do. And I felt like this was a show in which somebody was just kind of saying, yeah, this is what it's like being autistic, but this is just life. I'm living life as normal. I'm going through all these things as normal. It just happens that I'm autistic. I'm having to deal with all these things while I'm autistic. And I thought it was quite good. I thought it was quite funny. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. But I would recommend anybody watch Dinosaur. If not only reason because remember when we used to do we did a podcast and a radio show, which was based in the hospital on the Isle of Wight, and we had a section called "I Love Movies," where we talked about things where the Isle of Wight got a mention on TV or on film. And this would definitely have been one of those things, because they keep talking about the Isle of Wight and about how she there's a bit about having to move from Glasgow to the Isle of Wight, and there's a bit where it's kind of like a rom-com just with an autistic person in it, because there's a bit where she sort of like has a relationship, or there's a possibility of her having a relationship with somebody, and there's a whole setup about how going on a date, and there's a first date because she's never been on a date, and the family are like, "Nina, you're going on a date," and all that. So it's actually I like Dinosaur a lot. I would recommend it. I would give Dinosaur a 3 out of 5.